It's like, gosh, black man, you have to get so aggressive. Okay, now, so check this out, guys. We got more to do. We got more to do. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the topics of the show tonight. Dems turn on Kamala. The U.S. ditches them people. The U.S. ditches them people. And are they finally waking up? Are they finally waking up? They finally getting there. They finally figuring something out. Did they finally get it? Talking about the Democrats. So they finally starting to, hey. Democrats is like somebody who's been working out in the field, all day. Doing whatever they're doing, right? They come in the house, they're sitting at the table, sitting at the dinner table with the family and stuff, and they're like, hey, hold on. Oh, wow. I need to go wash my ass. That's the Democrats, man. Folks, that's the Democratic Party, man. That's what they're doing. Finally, they realize that they need to go ahead and hit that soap. At least hit the hot spots, Democrats. This ain't working. What you've been doing, this ain't working. They just standing in the back of the shower, looking at their phone, trying not to get no water on them. Did you wash up? Yes, I did, Mom. Fighting it. Democrats, man, maybe they're waking up, maybe they aren't. We're going to discuss that right here on the show, guys. With no further ado, we're going to get off into it. Remember, guys, the likes are important. It's not for bragging rights. Look, this is for the algorithm. And what we're trying to do is trying to grow the show. There's no reason why this show is under 200,000 subscribers. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the like button so the algorithm says, hey, man, look at this show over here. This show, we need to send this out to more people. You know what I'm saying? We need to amplify this. They got a nice sized crowd, people hitting like, people commenting. Yeah, do that. So comment for the algorithm. Let the algorithm know that you were here, Johnson. All right. Thank you once again, guys, for being here, for doing what you do. Thank you, Tim Black's Wolfpack. You are amazing. And with that, let's start the show. All right. Speaking of the Democrats are giving certain vibes like they knowing something's going on with that spirit. Van Jones is one of those people that lately has been coming out saying some things here and there that seem like he may have, an idea that something ain't right. It's not a lot of us. It's not a lot of Democrats who realize this, Van Jones is one of the people that have been saying it. Last night, we covered Abby Phillip on CNN, and she was saying it. But since she's an anchor, she's supposed to say it. But Van Jones, he kind of took it there. Here goes Van Jones in the clip I want to share with you guys on CNN.
Yeah. And then just lastly, Van, in terms of Democrats and where they go from here, and then just lastly, Van, in terms of Democrats and where they go from here, this last week we did see them some people try to protest during the president's address, and then House leadership getting onto them, other Democrats calling them out. They still seem to be wandering around trying to figure this out. What's your take?
Can we ask another question? Do I have to talk about my own party? Can we talk about Ukraine or something? No. Look, man, we're screwed. I mean, we don't know. No, Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. Somebody like Donald Trump, we thought we'd at least have Hakeem Jeffries in the speaker's chair to hold him back if we didn't have Kamala in there to do the right thing. Well, listen, the Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. You have a party that got trapped two ways. One, defending a broken status quo that nobody likes because they thought that Donald Trump was going to make it worse. But when you're defending the status quo, you're going to lose. And then offending most people in the country, calling everybody sexist and racist and transphobic and every other name, and then saying, please follow us. That's not a good strategy, folks. Defending a broken status quo and offending most of the country turns out is not as popular as my party thought it was going to be. And so it's going to take a while for people to get it figured out. I don't like talking about this. I'd rather be beat up. Can you give me something I can beat up Shermichael about? I don't want to talk about my own party.
I know. It's a tough question.
Yo, man, I got to give it to Van Jones for being honest, man. For being honest, that was refreshing. It's something, man. When Van Jones isn't crying, he seems to be tolerable. You know what I mean? Now, real talk, but he's not crying like a punk ass. He seems like, occasionally he'll say something. But Van Jones, he knows what he's doing, man. Van Jones is like, shut up, Tim Black. I got $50 million from a white guy I didn't even know. That's what that crying got me. Shoot, if they gave me $50 million, would I cry for $50 million? Here's the deal. If you give me $50 million, Bezos, I'll cry after you give me the money. How about that? I ain't gonna cry before. Yeah, you gotta give me the money, then I'll cry. I'll cry out of joy, because then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fund some black entertainment media, real media, right? Some new black media. That's what I'm gonna do, that's what I wanna do. Back to this, man. I gotta give it to Van Jones for calling it out, man. It's true. And Van Jones is speaking from experience, y'all. Because every time I turn around, they was canceling his ass. Oh, they canceled Van all day, every day. Especially that D.L. Hughley. Yeah, D.L. Hughley was always complaining about Van Jones. Meanwhile, D.L.'s one of the biggest sellouts that ever walked the earth. Yeah, he's a corporate shield. In fact, I would cover him this week, but I can't because it's been quiet. He's quietly somewhere kissing Kamala's picture or something. That's what he's doing. Last I heard, DL was on suicide watch. I hope he's still with us. But anyway, Van Jones, man, look, he's right. It's not just that the Democrats were defending the status quo, it's that they were defending a broken status quo. No one is saying things are great. And if we can agree things are great or not great, and we can agree things are not great, how can you say we want to keep it the same? Who can run on, hey, I wouldn't change nothing? I mean, that's the only part I didn't like about Van Jones' comments, right? Is he said something about Kamala Harris. We're going to get to her later on the show, but come on, Johnson. I mean, it's garbage. Anybody with a political IQ knows you can't say, when they ask you a question, what would you change? Your job, you can't say nothing unless things are going great. And if things are going great, then they probably wouldn't ask you that. So it's like, how could you be that dumb? So when they critique Van Jones, when you're bigging up Kamala, trying to stay on the good side of her, like, I don't know why. Her future is about as bright as Nipsey Hussle's. Damn, I didn't mean to say that. Hey, I ain't nothing against Nipsey. The first person popped in my head. But you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no future for her, man. Damn, I took the air out the room. Look, man, Kamala Harris is a train wreck, and her race was a train wreck. And that's the only thing I differ with Van Jones on. The reality is, if you don't have the common sense to say that, I mean, name anything. I don't give a damn what it is. It could be coach for a Little League team. If you're taking over for the coach with the Little League team and you didn't make it to the championship, right? Let's say you didn't make it to the championship. They say, is there anything you would do different? You better have at least one thing you're going to say you're going to do different. If you need to say something. That's the whole purpose of you being here. And what makes it so bad is people tiptoe around Kamala to this point. After that shellacking, after that horrible mismanagement of a campaign that she had, where she just gave out money to her friends, hoping to get something on the back end. She got stumped by a friend that's a kiss ass named Sonny Hostin on the Democratic kiss ass show of the century called The View. How you gonna let that take you out? How many people remember this? That's what really knocked her out. Her own people knocked her out with a GED level question. I rest my case. Van Jones, thank you. Thank you for being better than usual and giving me the opportunity not to slam you. I can't remember the last time I covered Van Jones when I wasn't hanging him from the rafters. Shout out to my man Shamichael Singleton up there holding it down. Shamichael didn't have to say nothing. Van said it all for him. That's an easy segment. All right. Well, you know what? Van Jones isn't the only person that's having the guts to call out the Democratic Party. There's another senator. There's a senator who's been doing it. Not Joe Manchin, though he hasn't called them out. You know, Joe Manchin is he a Democrat? I think people will talk. Is he a Democrat? Somebody let me know. Did Joe Manchin switch yet? Did he finally come out the closet? It's okay to be a Republican. You're white. What are you doing? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's good. You know what? You can be whatever you want to be, no matter what you are. You black, white, don't matter. What I'm saying is, you know how black people treat you when you're not a Republican, when you're not a Democrat. Like you the infidel. But you like them tax breaks, don't you? That's what kills me about black Democrats. Some of y'all own homes and be looking for tax breaks like a mug. Some of y'all own businesses be looking like for tax breaks like a mug. Be over there not sending the money back. Okay, Democrats, I'm an independent. So all you Democrats, all you black Democrats who look down on black Republicans, black independents, and black third-party supporters, send us your tax returns. Yeah, since you love giving your money away, hook us up. Yeah, all of a sudden, your hypocritical ass, no, I ain't say all that now. Everybody get a little Republican on April 15th, don't we? Ain't no parties on April 15th. TurboTax ass. All right. Back to my point. Look, guys, we're about to go to John Fetterman. John Fetterman, he said some stuff. Hey, man, he needs security. Check him out. I know he like, man, I'm way ahead of you, boss. You're like, I'm way ahead of you, man. I got all types of security.
With Tim Black.
He is in this, right?
My wife is Ukrainian.
Hey, that's
Here's
not
what her
John
family
Fetterman.
thinks about me.
What's Fetterman at? Do I have Fetterman in here? What under Fetterman? Oh, here you go. Damn. Okay, let's jump to Fetterman. I got everything lined up, Johnson. Come on, Fetterman. I didn't mean to put this in there. We'll come back to you, dude. Here we go. John Fetterman, ladies and gentlemen.
Like, it's really common sense. And I'd like to remind everybody that we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of migrants here illegally that have convicted of crimes. And why, I don't know why, who wants to defend that, to allow them to remain in our nation after that? And now, if you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and those things, I don't know why anybody thinks that it's controversial that they all need to go.
Do you think that this was one of, if not the biggest issue for this election?
Well, I think if we can't, there's 47 of us in the Senate, and if we can't pull up with 7 votes, if we can't get at least 7 out of 47, and if we can't, then that's the reason why we lost. That's one of them. That's one of why we lost, in part.
Go ahead.
Brett, if you think about that, I mean, that's what he's saying.
Next on deck.
Yeah, man, John Fetterman, man, what he's saying is basic common sense, but we all know that's not allowed in the Democratic Party. Yeah, like if you just think about things and be like, yo, that makes, why would we do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, Democrats don't allow you to use your intuition. If you use your basic reasoning skills with the Democrats, that's when they kick you out the party. Or that's when they shun you. For instance, like, the example he just used. He's saying, hey, if we got people here that aren't supposed to be here that have committed crimes, why would we want them in our country? They're not even supposed to be here, that's a crime, and then they committed other crimes too. We got to be real specific because Jasmine Crockett is up here lying to people, telling them it's not illegal to come here illegally. We all know that's illegal, right? Like it's illegal to walk in someone's house without permission. We all know that, right? Okay. It'll get you shot most places. But to Jasmine Crockett, it's legal. What a goofball. But anyway, so John Fetterman's saying, hey, I don't understand why it's so controversial. You here illegally, and you broke the law, committed other crimes besides that. See ya. And for that, they unleashed the hounds. Yeah, everybody hates everybody who's like a Democrat, like the blue dog Democrats. They can't stand John Fetterman. They think he's the scourge of the planet. Like he's right up there with Trump. And it's not just his voice either, because his voice sounds very whiny. I'm not knocking him, man. You know, I had a health scare myself. I know how it is, man. I ain't knocking him, but it does. that way he speaks, the way he says, I don't understand. The Democrats are just stupid. I don't get it. Why are they doing what they're doing? And why are they so stupid? I know they just be wondering. Hakeem Jeffries, man, we need to get this dude. So the Democrat Party, I think a very important point we need to consider, man, and this is the reason why a lot of people don't feel like the Democratic Party is a party for men. Because there are things that men think about. As a man, I could say that. As a man, I think about things. I'll be just chilling. I'll be watching my daughters play, watching wifey cook something or whatever, and I'm just sitting there, I'm at the table, I'm on my phone, and I'm reading something, an article or something, and I just think, what if somebody trying to come through my door? You know, like how quickly could I disarm them and help them go see Allah or Jehovah or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I be thinking the ways in which, you know, I would hurt them if they can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy thing. You think about different situations, you'll think about helping your family. How would you protect your family? It just randomly will pop in your head. And if you're a Democrat, you got to apologize, because you can't be like defending your family if you're a Democrat. Yeah, you gotta think of others first. You can't do what naturally comes to you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be really considerate. If you see a guy, you know it's a guy, but they want to be known as a woman, and you can't even tell, and you accidentally call him a guy because they look like a guy you knew, just like a dude I went to school with. For some reason, if you guess wrong, you should be canceled. You know, so there's things in the Democratic Party, man, that just don't allow you to be a man, to be like a regular guy. If you think, hey, this whole thing, if you think, for instance, you think, hey, man, girls, basketball should consist of girls. All of a sudden, you got to defend that. They want to excommunicate you. And I don't even like Governor Newsom. I think he's a horrible dude. Like, he threw the reparationists under the bus in California. Like, if you was going to not ride with this, why make them people come up there and waste all their damn time for like a year and a half? Just for you to punk your team into throwing it under the bus. So Newsom is garbage, right? Like, you know, his hair's too straight for me anyway. Anybody spend that much time? I ain't seen nobody spend that much time on their hair since John Edwards, and you know what he turned out to be. But Governor Newsom was on a podcast, and he just basically said, hey, out of fairness, as a former athlete, you know, it's only fair that girls play against girls, and there be no anatomically born men on the girls' basketball team. You'd have thought he'd have said, you know, like, you know, I don't know. You'd have thought he said Morgan Freeman was a horrible actor, and you know, and Tom Cruise never should have did action movies. He sucks too, and you know, you'd have thought he'd have said something sacrilegious like Pulp Fiction was garbage. You know, The Hateful Eight stunk. Like, you would have thought he would have spoke against, you know, Malcolm X. You know, Denzel didn't deserve an Oscar for Malcolm X when he did. You know what I'm saying? So, but because it's so counter to the philosophy of the Democratic Party. And look, John Fetterman, he only is, they'll say John Fetterman's selling out, that he's only responding this way because of Trump, and he's a Trump sycophant, and he's really MAGA. And I don't know if that's true or not, But see, I know a few things about John Fetterman. John Fetterman was a mayor of a small town. And one night, there was some shit going in the street, and John Fetterman went outside and he ended up busting a cap in somebody's ass. He literally did that. Now, back when he was running for, he was running for Senate, but before that, he was running for something else. He lost or something. I was going to interview John Fetterman, and I found out about it. So I was on the show like, I got to talk to him about this, because I was still, one of them progressive dudes. And I wanted to know, why did he shoot this black man? It was a black kid he shot, and no one ever talks about it. So I know for a fact it happened, right? Here's the thing. If a guy who would go outside and shoot a black unarmed person, I think it was unarmed, but let's say he just shot a young black person, okay? He being consistent with who he is to say, hey, if these people are breaking laws and they're not even supposed to be here anyway, how you gonna have a problem with deporting them? So he's actually being real. He's actually being more honest and more genuine than most Democrats ever are. Because that is consistent with how he actually conducts his life. Because if you shoot a black kid in the street, right, as a man, be like, yo, this guy, pal. Well, yeah, you must be somebody who would be like, okay, when people getting deported, who breaking the law. That is consistent. You ain't got to agree with him. And this is not me bigging him up, but this is me standing up and saying the Democratic Party has a problem with authenticity, and you're going to hear a lot of politicians saying how the Democrats are turning over a new leaf, and now they're waking up and they know what's going on and all this other stuff. A lot of it is playing to the cameras. But some of them, like John Fetterman, was already on that. When he was talking all that progressive stuff, that's when he was faking. It's the other way. He was pretending to be progressive. He not pretending now. He was pretending then. Yeah. All right. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Fact check me, follow up, do what you got to do. Shout out to Van Jones and John Fetterman for keeping it a buck. That's something that rarely is going to happen on this show, because usually I'm calling it out. But if you could call it out, you could call it in. The brush does swing both ways. I don't even know where I got that from. Next segment. Hit the like button if that made any sense, y'all. Hit the like button, guys. We want to get to 400 likes. It's important. I want to give a shout out to everybody who became a YouTube member or a Facebook member or a Patreon member of the Tim Black Show. It's because of you I'm able to do this show, because I got to live indoors. And it's a beautiful thing to live indoors. I don't take it for granted, and I appreciate you for supporting this show so we can continue to grow. And one of the things I want to continue to grow doing is having great guests. I used to have great guests on a long time ago. Well, not too long ago, but had a great guest last week. And I want to continue to do that. And I don't just mean 20 minutes or an hour. I want the shortest interview I do to be 2 hours. I want to really sit down and really get to know people. So that's what we on. That's something we're going to be offering, and you're making that possible. The more we go to the channel, the more I'll be able to get people that have, credibility. Because I want to bring credible people on the channel to have these conversations. All right, that's it, y'all. Give it up for that. Yeah, we doing it. Now, we're going to switch gears. We're going to switch gears a little bit. A lot of talk has been made about Ukraine. A lot of talk about Ukraine, and one of the reasons why I tend not to get too involved in international politics is it's just not my strong suit. I don't spend a lot of time boning up on it. Most of my time is spent on U.S. news, Black news, data about Black America. Those are my concerns. But it's not like I don't care about the rest of what's going on in the world. It's just, as one person, there's just so much you can do at one time. So when we talk about the Ukraine, for instance, I put out my statement. I put out content on it very sparingly, just enough to like let people know how I feel. But here we go. I ran across this video of somebody who's married to a Ukrainian, to someone who spent time in Ukraine, and to someone who considers himself an activist. And I just want to share this with you because some of y'all, don't everybody raise their hand at once, some of y'all still watch corporate media. And the messaging you get from corporate media is totally different than what you're about to hear right here. I don't know who this guy is, but I feel he's 100% authentic. Check him out.
My wife is Ukrainian. Here's what her family thinks about me exposing the truth. People keep asking me, hey, what does my wife think about all this? About me speaking out, about me calling out Zelensky, the corruption, the media, the lies. What does her family think? Well, let me tell you. My wife is Ukrainian, as you know, from Kharkov. She grew up speaking Russian, like so many of them in the East. Her parents, they lost their home, gone, reduced to rubble. Their pensions were cut because they left the country to be safe. They worked their whole lives, and now they get $140 a month. Their friends have been snatched off the streets, dragged to the front, never to be seen again. We got them out when the war started. We saved them from the destruction, the chaos, the insanity. But they were lucky. Most aren't. But you want to know how they feel about what I'm doing? They're glad I'm speaking out. Because they see it. They know what's really happening. And they know that what the media tells you, what the politicians tell you, isn't the whole truth. They know that Zelensky allowed this war to start, that he took an already corrupt government and made it much worse. They know their home is gone forever. And the people in power, they don't care. So when people ask me, how does your wife feel about this, Stephen? The answer is simple. She supports me because she actually knows what's happening. Her family sees it firsthand. And unlike the screaming, virtue-signaling, Ukrainian flag-waving activists, they take it in stride. They just want it to end, whatever it takes. They just want to go home. You know who doesn't like me speaking out? I'll tell you, the people who need you blind. The ones making billions off this war. The ones who profit while families like my wife's are left with nothing. The activists who make a career out of outrage. I don't speak out for me. I speak out because millions of Ukrainians like my wife's family can't. I don't need a flag in my bio. I don't need to scream slogans. I listen to the people actually living through it. And if that pisses you off, maybe it's time you ask yourself, why does the truth make you so damn angry? Why is anything that doesn't fit your personal bias a threat to you? Most of you have never been to Ukraine, never will. And when the media stops telling you to care, you'll move on just like you always do. So give it a rest, will you? Think of the people who actually have skin in the game and support them. And by the way, Russians want peace too. Most civilians on both sides, they just want peace. That's it. Simple. Share this. Let people hear the voices they don't want you to hear.
His name was Stephen Eugene K. Damn. That's not enough of a name for me to really shout that out, man. Let me see if we do it at the beginning. I just want to get his name right before we do any commentary. And it's really small. Damn. Out of respect, Stephen Eugene Kuhn. Looks like Kun. I like it. I respect it. It has the ring of truth. You know what I'm saying? You can feel sincerity when it comes across. You know what I mean? You can't really put your finger on what it is, but it's something about it that it just hits you in a way that you know it's real. It's coming from a real place. Unlike some of the virtual signaling, Ukraine flag waving. And no, don't get it twisted. I think most people mean well. They just don't know anything. You know? They're only told what they're told and they believe that for whatever reason. And they're coming with all types of justifications why what they're hearing must be true or you need to go their way. But they have the one thing that they really need to make a strong case, they don't have. Facts. They have no facts. Did you hear what Steve said? Steven said his parents, his wife's parents, mother and father-in-law, they left Ukraine and that they left behind friends who ended up getting snatched up and sent to fight at the front lines and never were seen again. That's real. That's friends. I've heard that story many times. Men my age and older being grabbed up and sent to the front lines to fight. So, like, you know, I don't know what it is. We got some black folks. We got some black Americans, man. I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell possessed you to listen to American propaganda about war. You know, America had propaganda back when we were slaves too. It was that we were lucky to be their slaves. You understand that? Like, America's really good at propaganda. It's like every time I turn around, we got people that know how America operates. They kept us in Jim Crow for 100 years after we were free. The Klan started after we were free because nobody was trying to damage their property. Them lynchings, those were free people with no rights. Okay? So a country that could do that with no conscience, like, so what? Mostly for money and for control. You don't think they fabricate things about wars to make money? You don't know that 9/11 was some BS? I mean, if you're under, like, okay, if you're under 30 years old, I get it, man. You just, you know, if you're under 25, your brain ain't fully formed. You've been raised off of TV and, I don't know, Meek Mill songs and Soulja Boy. I don't know. I don't know what y'all know. I don't know what raised you. Who raised you? TK Kirkland moment. Who raised you? Look, America is diabolical when it comes to war, man. It's a sport for us. And it's also how we get our money. Steven's not lying. He's not putting it on. He's not making millions of dollars telling you this. Some people, like myself, tell you the truth because it's the truth, you know? I don't know how else to put it to you. If you're walking around in la-la land listening to corporate media, well, then you're always going to be behind. And it'll be years later, you'll find out the truth. You know, I try to say, excuse me, I try to have a little bit of grace for people because I know I tend to try to believe that people mean well. They just don't know shit. But Zelensky, he wasn't attacked for no damn reason. It wasn't just out the blue. And even though they say Russia's the aggressor, it was because of what was done. Now, you can look into it further. I'm not going to go any further than that. I just appreciate this brother saying some things in a different way. And I'll just end it on this. Regardless of how you feel about the war, which you shouldn't feel good about it at all, think about how he closed it out. He said, both Russians and Ukrainians just want this shit to end. And then we had the Democrats who say dumb things in my comment sections and occasionally send me DMs in messages. Tim, you're trying to tell him to give up his country. You want him to surrender. Nah, negotiate an end to the war, doofus. It's gotta end. It's fine for people to say keep fighting. It's crazy. I gotta say this. It is crazy for black people in America to not see through someone keeping the war going. They not out there on the front lines. They chilling in the back. They are back at home doing covers for Vogue and Vanity Fair. Goofy. That's what the president of Ukraine is doing, while Jasmine Crockett and the rest of y'all big him up because the Democrats told you to. Just sheep. It's embarrassing, frankly. Why he need tickets to the Oscars? Do you really think people that are at war are even thinking about the damn Oscars? And you're gonna actually jump in my comment section? You actually gonna make a case for why he shouldn't surrender when it's all these people dying for no damn reason? other than money, Goofy. Yeah, his people are getting shot, but he ain't. And no, neither are the oligarchs in Ukraine. And last thing I'll say, for years, there's been talk. There is a documentary about the Nazis in Ukraine. I just want to let you know something, virtual signaling, Generation Z, person wet behind the ears, Goofy, hormones raising, believer of nonsense. Nazis don't like ninjas. Okay? So while you're virtual signaling and getting the arguments and calling black men, older black men you should respect, an OG like me, a coon over the Ukraine? Really? A bunch of Nazis in the Azov or whatever that is, army they got over there, a bunch of Nazis? With your tax money funded Nazis? And then you calling a black man who's telling you this war is dumb, you calling him a sellout? Man, get your ass. Look, hey, in the words of Bruce, bless his heart. Oh, bless his heart. Just dumb. I'm going to leave it there, man. You know, I ain't going to get all emotional, man. It's not good for your health. I'm going to leave it there, man. Go with God, Goofy. Go with God. That's how you know who the sellouts are. Any person, I'm not talking about independent media because independent media doesn't have staff, but a lot of these talking heads for the Democrats and a lot of corporate media, if they've been on the wrong side of this, any side that's not on peace, anybody who's not talking peace when it comes to this war, they are a plant. They're the ops. Okay? All right. Next. I don't even know what's next. Let's be surprised together. Keep it fun, Tim. Okay, we jump back. We did Fetterman. Then we jump back. Oh, damn. I just gave away my beginning. You didn't see that? Okay, before we go to the next one, I know what the next one is. All right, guys. Now, look. Hit the like button. This segment's going to be nice. I feel pumped up to give you this. Okay, because I set it up, man. Kind of smooth. Check this out. So, if you've been watching my content, you know I've been covering the one and only Representative Jasmine Crockett, or who I'd like to call Sister Girl. Sister Girl. Now, or who Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz called the new face of the Democratic Party. Let me say that again. That shit's hilarious, man. If you've been following the Tim Black Show, you'll know I've been covering none other than Representative Jasmine Crockett from the state of Missouri, Texas, who went to that private school that cost $35,000 a year. Who came from the hood. Then went to college that cost $58,000 a year. And paid out of pocket. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Was I supposed to say all that on the mic? But Tim, black people can have money. I know, but why they got to talk like they from the hood when they not? I'm just saying. Anyway, back to the point. Representative Jasmine Crockett's been in the news all the time, man. She is like Trump. If he was a black woman who was loud and wrong a lot. Jasmine Crockett's been labeled the new face of the Democratic Party by industry giants and political commentator extraordinaires such as Charlemagne the God and great comedian talent rivaling Richard Pryor and all of the greats, even Bernie Mac, the one and only amazing Andrew Schultz. Anyway, I'm having too much fun. Let me get to this. So recently, one of my recent segments on Jasmine Crockett was some statements she made about immigration that were dead wrong. Let's go, Johnson.
That's one of why we lost, in part.
Go ahead.
Brett, if you think about that, that's what he's saying.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Here it is.
But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime.
It's a crime to enter the country illegally on Title 8, United States Code 1325, and it's really pathetic that any member of Congress don't understand what the law says. They wrote the law. They enacted the law. It was signed by the president. It's a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. If you've entered it prior, it's a felony. So, I've been saying this for I don't know how long on your show, and I had to educate AOC years ago during the hearing that it's a crime to enter this country illegally, and we're going to enforce those laws.
Super Mayor Tiffany A. Henry, the people.
Well, check it out, man. I was trying to tell you that. So it's right there for you. Holman responded to Jasmine Crockett, and he said exactly what it is. Said that she didn't know what she's talking about. It's embarrassing that she would lie. And look, it gets worse than that because I believe she knows it's a crime, but she knows that a lot of people that follow her won't look it up. Because it's information. And you might have to look in a book. And we know how some people feel about books. Oh, no! Knowledge! Oh, no! They hate that. They hate that almost as much as they hate their natural hair growing out their heads. Listen, man, we got a problem, and the problem is Jasmine Crockett. But you know what I was thinking about earlier today? I was thinking, not everybody's upset that Jasmine Crockett is showing her ass. I can think of at least one black female politician that's happy Jasmine Crockett's on the scene because it took some of the heat off her ass. Dalton County's own Tiffany Henry.
It's a felony. So, I've been saying this for I don't know how long on your show, and I had to educate AOC years ago during the hearing that it's a crime to enter this country illegally, and we're going to enforce those laws.
Super Mayor Tiffany A. Henry, the people's mayor. So I heard you guys was looking for me.
Yeah, they looking for you to throw your ass out of office. And they succeeded. Folks, Tiffany Henry is out of office, man. Yeah, she's out of office. And I heard there's another probe. There is investigation after investigation after investigation. Man, whenever I see Tiffany Henry, I think about people who stole payday loans with those PPP loans. Yeah, I think about people that put in all their PPP loan money, right? And didn't think that they would live long enough to have to pay that shit back or go to jail. That's all I think about. I just think about these people who live in the moment. I think about that sister that was working for Facebook that was leading up their DEI initiatives, who stole like $5 million. Like they wasn't going to miss $5 million at some point. Like, I know Facebook is like a multi-billion-dollar company, but you got to imagine at some point they're going to be like, where that a few million go? I don't know. It's just people that they do things and it's like they never expect the roosters to come home to roost. And that would be Tiffany Henry, man. Yeah, they got her up out of there. And I don't know. I was watching some of the reactions from people in Dalton County when they got her out. Now, she didn't even win her primary. So they weren't able to remove her. She stayed. She lasted. As corrupt as she was, she lasted all the time until it was time for another election. And that's when they got rid of her. Hold on.
I'm not going to answer it. Because remember, I got the tea with the receipts. Matter of fact, if you want the tea, get it from me. Go tell that.
A packed gym room at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District erupts in cheers as the Democratic Party caucus for Thornton Township decided to deny embattled current township supervisor Tiffany Henry's name from being on the ballot in April. State Senator Napoleon Harris now nominated as the Democratic challenger for that position.
So to hear the people tonight, you heard them express how wonderful it was to finally get rid of her.
It was the first time in 30 years that township Democrats used a caucus to determine who will be on the ballot. Those seeking the nomination for township supervisor needed all 8 people for that slate, which includes supervisor, highway director, clerk, assessor, and 4 trustees. Hilliard did not have a certified assessor on her ticket, deeming her invalid for consideration. Current Thornton Township trustee Chris Gonzalez earning the Democratic nomination for a trustee spot under Harris's slate.
We want to get the township back on track, back to where we feel it should be.
Hilliard was appointed Thornton Township supervisor in 2022 and also serves as the mayor of Dalton. Tuesday night's decision comes as Hilliard has faced criticism over township spending while also disputing with trustees.
What's currently going on, I'm disappointed, but what I'm looking for in the future is hope.
Now, Hilliard can still run for Dalton mayor, but in order to run for township supervisor, she'll have to be a write-in candidate.
Next on deck.
So that was exactly what I was about to look up. So let me get this right. She's still running for mayor. She's running for mayor even though she's under all these indictments, man. Like all these new investigations. I just saw another one launched. That is something, man. That is brazen. Yeah. Tiffany's been out of the news only because of Jasmine Crockett. They do bear some things in resemblance. They do. Some things they kind of share together. They're making up stuff as they go and loving themselves a little bit too much. And something that my brother brought up, one of my comments from the last show, shut yourself out, man. He mentioned something that I hadn't noticed until I looked at until he brought it up. Jasmine Crockett is a narcissist. She really is. I mean, who does an interview with a picture of themselves on the wall behind them? And that says a lot, you know? That says a lot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people put their diplomas. I got my YouTube thing up there, over here, back there. You see it. But picture of myself? Why would you need a picture of yourself when you're in the picture of the frame? So I just saw an interview that Jasmine Crockett did where that we commented on this show that she did with pictures of herself on the wall. So she's like walking around her living room looking at herself. I don't know, man. I'm just saying it is what it is. We deserve better from our politicians. Dalton County, I hope you do the right thing and get rid of Tiffany Hilliard. You don't need the stress, and that county needs to get back on its right footing, so to speak. You know, it's terrible. You know, there are people, and I saw some of them with Tiffany Hilliard, who were fighting to defend her. You know, when a black person is a high face or a high place, a black face in a high place, and people admire that person, I understand where that comes from, and I get that, particularly in our system, the way it operates. I get it. You feel a sense of pride in that, but you also got to recognize, as is the case in Dalton County, it's predominantly 90% black. And you got a black woman taking advantage of black people and taking their money and going to Vegas and doing this and going that and, you know, having bodyguards, 5 bodyguards, all types of crazy, extravagant expenses. Black people should not let black people hurt them because those people are black. Yeah, that's crazy. It should be the opposite. We should be like, hold them to a higher standard. Because part of the reason why they're there is through our political influence, our political grit, and our credibility, and our actual vote. Put them there. It's not supposed to be you owe them, they owe you. They owe you. Hey, man. Some people you can't change them. God bless them. Oh, bless their hearts. Next segment, guys. Can I get a like? Can we get some likes for this segment, guys, as we move into the next segment? Lord have mercy. Once again, guys, I need to take better notes to know what's next, but at least I got a feeling it's going to be good.
With Tim Black.
Trying to look busy.
U.S. hostage envoy Adam Bowler. Adam, thanks.
Oh, this segment. Oh, okay, this is an important segment, guys. I saw this clip and I said, this has to be something that I address on this show. Okay, folks. We've been having a lot of conversations on this channel, many other channels. In fact, I can't even take credit for it, man. This has been a phenomenon where we've been calling out America's subservient position with Israel. And folks, it appears that it's finally changing. That's what it looks like. Now, I've been reading. Trump was trying to negotiate the release of the remaining hostages that Hamas has. And there's a lot of friction in this negotiation. And Bibi, he seems like he doesn't want to cooperate with the negotiations. So things are getting very testy. And the conditions of the negotiation, he's tending not to agree with it. And I've been seeing people say that Trump needs to break with Bibi and push Israel much harder for this negotiation, that this war must end. And I hesitate to call it a war. What's going on there in Gaza should end. It must end. Okay. And I feel the same way about the Congo. I feel the same way about anywhere where people are oppressed, which are a lot of places. So that's why I don't do international politics often, because I know I'm leaving out. Just saying Congo because I know about Congo, but I'm sure there's some heinous shit going on in many parts of the globe that I'm not mentioning, particular places where people are black. So, get what I'm saying? And I hate feeling like I'm leaving things out just because of lack of knowledge. But be that as it may, know that my heart's in the right place, and I stand on 10 toes down for mine. Okay, so just know that. And if you don't believe it, I ain't got to convince you. Go with God. Here's the thing. This is why this segment is important. This looks like, finally, the Trump administration is setting a precedent where we ain't got to stand with Israel, all that ass kissing everyone does. That seems like this whole thing with Gaza, the continuation, the immovability of Bibi, the heinous, inhumane treatment of the Palestinians, all of it leads us to this place where we are now. I'm not saying it's a fair trade, but I am saying there may be something that's coming out of this, and that will be the United States finally throwing off the shackles of Israel. Check out this clip.
So much for joining us. Let's start on these direct negotiations with Hamas. First of all, obviously controversial to directly negotiate with terrorists. How much sign-off did you get from President Trump beforehand? And this is just my personal curiosity. As a Jewish American, did you have to steel yourself before sitting down to deal with people who are definitionally anti-Semitic murderers?
Well, I'd say meeting with people, whether they're good people or bad people, is part of my job. I'm the special envoy. I need to go and have dialogue with anybody, and that includes a lot of people that I would classify as not so good people, to help other Americans. And so it comes part and parcel in the job. I knew that I was going to meet Hamas as a result of it, and we discussed it. Then I think when you walk and you sit in front of somebody and you know what they've done, it's hard not to think of it. I wouldn't say it's the most productive. The most productive is to realize that every piece of a person is a human, and to identify with the human elements of those people and then build from there. But it definitely feels a little odd knowing what they really are.
So thank you for your candor. So you did.
So when I heard that part, that piece right there, folks, I thought, oh God, this is going to be the same old shit. This sounded like the same old, oh, we got to tip, we got to walk very delicately, and everybody's afraid they're on eggshells. They don't want to stand up. They sound like D.L. Hughley, cowards. They sound like Charlemagne the God, cowards. It sound like, what's the guy, the dude, the fat dude that's Palestinian? Can he stand up? DJ We went in, whatever his name is, you know his name. Somebody shot him out. His punk ass. DJ, not DJ Quick, what's his name? DJ Khaled, that's it, thank you, son. DJ Khaled's punk ass, who won't even stand on business. So when I heard this part here, I thought, oh man, here we go again. I done got my mouth all ready for some Kool-Aid, and here we go. Ain't nothing here but a swallow. And then this happened.
Did get sign off from President Trump ahead of time, though.
Of course.
Yeah. What was the result of the meeting? How close are you to a deal to get the American hostages, living and dead, murdered, still in Gaza, out? How close are you?
Well, first of all, I want to note the American hostages that are there, one in particular that's alive, Adi Alexander, and 4 dead bodies of Americans, with about 50 killed. And that's just not acceptable. We live in the United States, the strongest country in the world, and there are 6,000 Americans in different countries. So one of my views here is we've got to change that completely. With respect to the Hamas situation, I do think there's hope. I think that Israel has done a wonderful, masterful job eliminating Hamas, Hezbollah, a number of other enemies in the state that makes things possible that weren't possible before. And I think you could see something like a long-term truce where we forgive prisoners, where Hamas lays down their arms, where they agree they're not part of the political party going forward. I think that's a reality. It's real close.
Do you have plans to sit down with Hamas again?
You never know. You know, sometimes you're in the area and you drop by.
All right. It's a very unique pop-in, I suppose. So you talked about the job Israel has done in trying to negotiate the release of the hostages, living and dead. Axios' reporter Barak Ravid is reporting the top Israeli official, Ron Dermer, strongly discouraged you from talking directly with Hamas. He said it was a tense phone call. Tell us about that. Do you understand why Netanyahu, Dermer, others might be upset?
I do understand. I spoke with Ron, and I'm sympathetic. He has someone that he doesn't know well, making direct contact with Hamas. Maybe I would see them and say, look, they don't have horns growing out of their head. They're actually guys like us. They're pretty nice guys. So he doesn't know me, and there are big stakes. He lives in a country where if it sets certain precedents, then it will hurt or help a lot of other people. So I understand the consternation and the concern, and I wasn't upset. At the same time, we're the United States. We're not an agent of Israel. We have specific interests at play, and we did communicate back and forth. We had very specific parameters by which we fell, and the reality is what I wanted to do is jumpstart some negotiations that were in a very fragile place. And I wanted to say to Hamas, what is the end game that you want here? Not the dream end game, but what do you think is realistic at this point? Because until we know that, it's very hard to reach some sort of truce or some sort of end to hostility. So in the end, I think it was a very helpful meeting. It was very helpful to hear some back and forth. But I think Israel knows walking out of that, you know, it's not like Hamas got the world because I thought they were a bunch of nice guys.
Right. How quickly could something...
Okay, so I want to temper this, man. I know it sounds like bullshit. You think this sounds bad? You should have heard all the other conversations, all the other language, all the other rhetoric around this. This is the best it's ever been. You know, America was under the posture like, well, we can never talk to Hamas. We support Israel 100%. And whatever they want to do is what we want to do. This is called progress. To just release a statement, to just say, okay, Hamas is not, they're not animals. That's big. I know it doesn't sound big. You know what I'm saying? But for us to say, oh, they're good, you know, they're good, they were nice guys. For him to say that, representing America, that's not something I expected to ever hear him say. And then for him to say, we're not an agent of Israel. Like, once again, duh, right? But nah, that's not how it works. This is actually a big deal. Do you see the Arabic written at the bottom of this clip? This has gone around the world. That's how historic it is. It's not everything. Basically, it's nothing. But when you've been operating on less than nothing, you know what I'm saying? Then nothing becomes something. Something better than terrible, which is what this was. I don't know how much longer it is. We'll go a little bit longer. I don't want to play the entire clip and get my channel, but I think it ends on a note of, I don't know.
Can come together in terms of this negotiation?
I think something could come together within weeks. I will say that I believe there is enough there to make a deal between what Hamas wants and what they've accepted, and what Israel wants and it's accepted. And I think I think there is a deal where they can get all of the prisoners out, not just the Americans.
Next.
Okay, there we go. That was in. Good. We got to the bottom of that. That's good. Bibby, people need to stop listening to Bibby. We need to sidestep him and get this done. I think that Trump is somebody under his administration that would have the guts to do that. Yeah, he talks. Trump talks about, he talks like he is kissing a lot of butt, but I think he wants to get a deal more than anything else. And since he talks about getting a deal, that's when the someone's pride and ego comes into play. Because when you talk about it and you want to deliver on that, so it becomes an issue. I'm a type of person where I don't care why somebody does something. Like, it would be great if people did things because they had their heart in the right place. Yeah, well, I live in the real world. I like to visit yours sometime where people are angels and they do things because they mean well. I don't care why someone does something. I care that they do it. And that's the best you can hope for sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And there may be more ulterior motives. Usually they are your ulterior motives in there somewhere. But in this particular situation, if it's just the ego and the pride of Donald Trump, who made a commitment to be a part of getting this done and want to show up to Democrats and get a win, I'll take that. Because, like I told you, it ain't about the Democrats. I don't care how they look at the end of the day about this. This is about those people being freed, being released. And when I say those people, I'm talking about Palestinians. So, yeah. It'd be nice to, bring Americans home too. but it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. What you doing over there? No, I'm just kidding. I don't mean that. But no, seriously, why are you... All right, guys, hit the like button if that made any sense to you. I know some of you disagree with the, and some agree. So, it's good. It's okay. Make a video about it. Complain. It'd be great. Put it in the algorithm. Next, just letting people know that we are funded by people like you. We got great supporters of the show. Tim Black, Wolfpack. The Tim Black Wolfpack is in the house. These are people, most of them have been with me for quite some time. Some just joined. Let me run their names on the bottom of the screen. I like doing that because they hold me up, I hold them up. You know what I'm saying? So thank you, guys. Thank you for supporting this show. Shout out to all those viewers who go to patreon.com, Tim's Take Live, and become members of the Tim Black Show, who also join on YouTube. We do pretty good on YouTube as well. So thank you for doing what you do. And let's continue to do it, man. I'm built for this. You're built for this. We're built for it, and we can make it happen. Yeah. Shout out to the Wolfpack. Shout out to the Wolfpack. It's running right here. There you go. How are we looking, Buck? How close are we to 400? How close are we to 400 likes? Oh, we're somewhere around there. I'm imagining we're at like 300 because it's Monday, All right. I know we got at least one more story. It's going to be a kind of a short night. There really wasn't that much on a Monday. Be surprised. Wasn't that much that I found that was worth talking about, which brings me to another thing. Look, guys, if you have ideas, tips, stories, send them to tim@timblacktv.com. If instead of sending, you want to drop a bug in my ear about something that's going on, call up. Go to asktimblack.com. Asktimblack.com. Leave a voice message. Yeah, use your phone. Go there. You'll see it. Hit the mic, and you can record a message, and it'll email me when it hits the mailbox. So that's dope, okay? So anybody can do that at any time. It's all the time. It's always on. So just do it. And that's just another way that I want to stay connected with my people. You know what I'm saying? And have an open door policy, and we chop it up. So yeah, go to ask.com and asktimblack.com. Asktimblack.com. Leave a voice message. Because not everybody likes to send emails. Emails get caught up in spam boxes sometimes too. Stuff like that happens. This won't happen with this service. All right, folks. Let's go. What's next on the itinerary?
Next on deck with Tim Black.
Wow, I gotta go.
Oh. All right, guys. When I see these faces, I know exactly what this is. I wanted this clip. I saw this clip on X, right? And this clip focuses on the corruption of the USAID, U.S. aid agency, right? And it's kind of dropping from the news right now because so much is going on elsewhere. You know, we had Dr. Musso on it. We're talking about the Board of Education. There's been talk about other agencies and other cuts, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Tesla, you know, Tesla's under attack. They're like vandalizing, trying to destroy his products. Elon Musk, his dealerships or whatever. So a lot's going on with the Doge, right? Then we had the State of the Union address. So we kind of got away from it, but I wanted to come back and I wanted to cover this because the U.S. aid agency is sinister. All right? It's sinister what's been going on in that agency. Folks, I have not had an opportunity to go through and fact check everything about this. But a couple of things I have. So take it with a grain of salt. Help me fact check it. But what this brother's about to put down, I think is really important stuff for us to know. Because while we have all these Democrats jumping out the gym, mad and upset about USAID, we did this, we did that, we was feeding the crippled children of Poland and the crippled children in Sudan, and they're saying all these great things they're saying the U.S. aid agency did. They're leaving out a lot of stuff. Such as this.
This is amazing. I need to have you back on really soon, Mike, but really quickly, if you can tell me in 15 or 20 seconds, has every past president for the last 20 years known about this corruption with USAID and just chose not to do anything about it?
Well, most of them are on the take. Joe Biden was the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which directly oversees USAID. USAID was funding Burisma. USAID gave money to Burisma and had a formal partnership agreement with Burisma.
Burisma is the Ukraine corporation that Hunter Biden worked at, that he was paid millions of dollars without having any experience in the field of energy. It's an energy company. So USAID, the purse strings were controlled by a committee that Joe Biden headed up in Congress. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I was today years old when I found that out. That's a truth bomb, John. Somebody give me a sound effect for truth bomb dropping.
For the last 20 years known about this corruption with USAID and just chose not to do anything about it?
Well, most of them are on the take. Joe Biden was the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which directly oversees USAID. USAID was funding Burisma. USAID gave money to Burisma and had a formal partnership agreement with Burisma. Barack Obama's mother worked for USAID. And the Bush family runs right through it. Bush's, Vice President Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney worked for USAID. They're all in on it. And this is the reason that the Trump revolution was so revolutionary. It's because it defeated both sides of the USAID snake. And now we're going to see just exactly how the snake bites back when it's cornered.
I wonder if all of the lawfare and the everything that they threw at President Trump in his first term, the Russiagate, the collusion, all the stuff. I wonder if that was just to try to keep him on his heels enough to not look at U.S. aid. But
wait, but that was a U.S. aid thing
Mike
too.
Vince, appreciate you.
Can I say this one thing real quick? No, I have to say this.
Yes.
Okay. USAID funded a group called the OCCRP. Everyone can look this up. They paid $20 million to a group of hit piece journalists who turned around and dug up dirt on Rudy Giuliani and then used that as the basis to impeach the sitting president, Donald Trump, in 2019.
Damn.
They made, I'll give you.
Here goes Joe Biden. Just for anybody who says, oh, Tim, we don't do conspiracy theories. Yeah, you don't do conspiracy theories. Here goes Joe Biden admitting to giving money, withholding money from Burisma. No, withholding money under conditions. Yeah. Of Ukraine, under conditions of playing ball there in Ukraine. This is obviously before the Ukraine war. So here he is right here, because we all know how Biden likes to brag. He's a bragger. He wants you to know, I'm the big guy. I do big things. And I told those sons of Eves what to do, and then they did it. Listen to him. And then his son gets the job. That's why they wanted to smash that. They wanted to get rid of this story back when Biden was running for office. But here it goes. Here goes Biden in his own words.
One concrete example. I was, not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones. So I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time. Well, they made some genuine, substantial changes institutionally and with people. But in one of the three institutions, there's now some backsliding. The courts are there. Yes. And they had made that commitment that they wouldn't do that. And so when we left, the first thing I spent...
Next.
Yeah. That's Joe Biden being corrupt right in your face. He's so bold, he's even bragging about it. Yeah, there he is. That was at the Council for Foreign Relations. That's them. That's their event. And he's talking openly about how he wielded his power and control and how he got Burisma to do what he wanted them to do. And that was something about a U.S. aid agency, which is the same agency his son ended up working for, that no one still to this day can prove. Why the hell did they hire him? Well, you know why they hired him, because of Biden. Probably one of the stipulations was, put my son in over there. Show me you're honest. Put him in there. You don't hire my son, you ain't Ukraine. All right, let's keep going, Johnson. It's important for people to know, yes, America is that corrupt.
On Deck with Tim Black.
Welcome back. If you're a Democrat, you might say to yourself, now he tells us. And if you're a Republican, you might say to yourself, wouldn't matter anyway. What am I talking about? Well, Minnesota Governor, former vice presidential nominee Tim Walz.
Oh, this is the segment, the banger. All right, we're going to end this on a strong note, Johnson. Check this out. It finally happened. It finally happened. Kamala Harris has been exposed for what she was, what she is. Now, I don't agree with everything in this segment, but, obviously I'm going to speak to that. but it's amazing. You remember this guy, Tim Walz? Yeah, the guy that was running mate for Kamala Harris. Yeah, the goofy guy. Yeah, that guy. He's talking. He's talking about Kamala. Check it out. It's been all over the news tonight.
Is unburdening himself about what he thinks Democrats could have done and should have done better in 2024. He told Politico, quote, this is a long one, so pay attention. In football parlance, we were in a prevent defense, Walz said, to not lose when we never had anything to lose because I don't think we were ever ahead, unquote. Joining us now to discuss and diagram, Joel Payne and Michael LaRosa. Joel is a CBS News political contributor, Michael, and Democratic strategist. Michael served as press secretary for First Lady Joe Biden. Michael, I want to ask you about that, Walz's characterization, and also the conversation going on in here in Washington about books that are going to come out and allegations that are going to be made that the White House and the re-election campaign buried the infirmities of President Biden to its detriment and to the country's detriment.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I wasn't there for the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, I did think that they should start taking the polling that showed a lack of support for the president in his own party very seriously.
The re-election and the White House.
The re-election bid, and I did not think that by denying the polling, denying the data, denying the journalism, they were also denying how the public felt about the president's age and how severe of an issue it was. And I think it's demonstrated by Senator Jack Reed, who, as you know, doesn't make noise.
No.
When he requested that the president take 2 mental acuity tests and share the results. I mean, this is a guy who doesn't like drama. He's known the president for.
Well, look, I don't want to bore you with this. This is the part where they're discussing what's about to happen, right? So there's been talk about this. I saw a segment with former MSNBC dude Chuck Todd, and he was with somebody else talking. Forget who he was, but it was another operative, right? And they were discussing this book that's coming out. They're going to be pointing fingers, right? It's a big deal. That sounds like Joe Biden. It's a big deal. Now they're going to be pointing fingers at the people that kept it under wraps about Joe Biden being past it. Like, this is like a damn scandal that's far-reaching implications. I mean, who was running the country while Joe was on his dementia meds? I mean, it's that bad, and it's all going to come out. I'm telling you, folks, everyone is abandoning the Democratic ship right now in little ways. They're doing what they need to do to stay alive. John Fetterman isn't the only one calling it out. And what's about to happen is there going to be some bodies that are going to be sacrificed because they kept it secret. And they jeopardized the country. They lied to the country. They lied to the media. They kept the media at bay. A lot of media folks are pissed because they were told if they talked, they would lose access to the president, which could mean your job. Because if you got a news agency and you got an anchor or whatever, you got a journalist who can't get access to the president to cover stories, how are you gonna keep that guy employed? Got to get somebody in there that can get access. So basically, they talk a lot of stuff about Trump calling for people to be fired, Trump being a dictator. Isn't it kind of dictatorial to like bend people's arms and say, if you open your mouth, basically you're just shaking them down, making them lie for you? That's basically what happened. And that's all going to come out. So that's the first part of this. The second part is when we get to Tim Walz. So let's go there.
3 years, the campaign and the first 2 years at the White House. And I've always been consistent. That is exactly right. I mean, this is about the Bidens and Tim Walz. It's all connected. We need to start having these uncomfortable conversations early and honestly, because this is why we're in the position we are in, because we didn't have them early enough. Governor Walz is exactly right. I mean, this is a guy right out of central casting. He was a vet, he was a teacher, he was a coach, a Midwestern governor. He campaigned and auditioned for the job because he could communicate and relate to people through the prism of television. And they did the opposite. They took their asset and they, I don't know, muzzled and locked it up and chained it up into a basement. We never saw them again. And so I don't know why. It's mysterious and baffling to me why they decided to not use their assets, strengths to their advantage.
And turned the governor into a cautious, yeah, I agree with Vice Presidential nominee Vance in the debate.
Yeah, you started with that football metaphor that the governor used. In the football parlance right now, Democratic Party is a team that just had a really bad year with high expectations and is rebuilding. And the things that you're seeing right now, the conversation we're having, all the talk in all the favorite newspapers that we trust is going to be about what went wrong. They're fair. The critiques are fair. I have said to you, I've said to our colleague John Dickerson and others, I thought Joe Biden's age would not be an impediment for him so long as it did not affect his ability to do the job. I was wrong about that. I think the American people made a different judgment than I did and that a lot of strategists did. I think combined with the fact that the Democratic Party is maybe losing the thread on the conversation that's happening outside of D.C. with the rest of the country, which, by the way, I think that it's good and it's useful that the party has rebounded and has started to understand.
Get out of here, man. The party is not rebounded. It's still doing the same shit it's been doing. Okay, they're just out of power. What can they do? They'll be, wearing their pussy hats and complaining and holding up signs and being goofy and pretending to be Avengers and stupid shit and being led around by Jasmine Crockett, not the best spokesperson. So, and AOC, what is that? What? But now here's the thing. Tim Walz is saying, and others are saying as well, Kamala Harris is afraid of Tim Walz taking her shine. And yeah, I can see that. She's a black woman running and she's not good at her job. Don't get it twisted. She's not good on the stump. She's not good ad-libbing. She's just not good, okay? Period. Anybody they put up was going to do that to her. I've always felt, she chose Tim Walz because she thought he would be less of a threat. Because anybody else, it was Gretchen Whitmer, she would have outshined Kamala. Gavin Newsom would have stole the spotlight. Everyone else said they could have chosen. What would they be doing sitting there being her VP? Should have been the other way around. So that's how you were going to look at it. Just think of the people that were left in the Democratic Party. Of those people, did they really, any of them really fall under the wing of Kamala Harris? No. She just doesn't have. So yes, I do see a person. That's the worst thing about somebody that's mediocre. When someone's mediocre, they cannot let other people shine. They can't sit back. They can't step back. They can't let the other person do. And that's the whole purpose of getting a guy, getting a partner, is for them to shine and you not have to do all the work. You're supposed to let that person do you. It's your bit time. Go ahead. Michael Jackson knew how to let Jermaine do Jermaine. Even Mike could sit back and let Tito have his moment. Had Jackie have his moment. Let Janet have her moments. But Kamala's the opposite. Kamala was like, yo, you're doing really good with the weird thing. Stop doing it, because we don't want you to do it anymore. And that was the thing that was blowing up. I thought it was kind of weird, but it was effective. A lot of people were using it. And you know how I know that weird tag that Tim Walz put on Trump was effective? Because Trump and J.D. Vance talked about it. Yeah, like if it wasn't effective, no one would have ever complained. They'd have been happy they were saying it. But when I saw Trump respond to it, I said, oh. When I saw J.D. Vance respond to it, I said, oh. And he was dropping zingers about J.D. Vance on the couch and something in the book. I didn't read J.D. Vance's book, but I heard something about a couch. Anyway, Kamala wasn't relatable like that, nor could she ad-lib like that. I'm not saying Tim Walz is a great candidate. I'm not saying I found him impressive, but he did have some certain characteristics that made him a natural vice president. He wasn't handsome. And I'm not judging guys. I'm just saying, like, just sort of like the good guy that's, that you wouldn't want to have, that and there be someone else who has more spotlight, but this is a good number 2 guy. And some people naturally have that, you know? You know what I'm saying? And that's what, you know, so he's not, you know, he's not what you would think, big, barrel-chested, tall, strapping dude with a strong chin and, you know, youthful. I mean, he looked older. He looked 10 years older than Kamala, and they're the same age. And, you know, if you're afraid of that guy, that goofball, the guy that got up there with the J.D. Vance and couldn't remember, like, anything, and you don't want him to get out, you don't want him to have a good night, he's got to kiss your ass the whole time, and as nervous as he is himself, first time on the world stage. Remember, Kamala Harris has been on the world stage for at least the last 8 years, you know? She did really well. She didn't do well. She did bad, but she was on the world stage. I mean, being a Indian, Jamaican, brown woman, I caught it. That put her in a lot of limelight. And then when she had those knockout dragouts in the Senate, you know, in the confirmation hearings, you know, of Kavanaugh and of Jeff Sessions, that put her right there. And with all that name recognition, to be in the Attorney General, I mean, come on, Tim Walz is the freaking governor of Minnesota. Who? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it was probably, you know, Minnesota's probably a great place. Don't get me twisted, you know, and yes, the home of you know, the Morris Day and of course the Great Prince. But after that, you know, the Timberwolves, after you say those 3, I'm kind of like looking for other stuff to say about Minnesota. Oh, Fargo, right? Or is that North Dakota, South Dakota? I think it's South Dakota. Anyway, the point is this. If Kamala Harris is afraid of being overtaken, spotlight, playing second fiddle to Tim Walz, that just underscores the whole point that she is not ready for the damn job. You feel what I'm saying? Because a bad mofo is a bad mofo no matter who they standing next to. You know? And I'm just using her as one example, but you know, you take a dope actress, you know, and she's a dope actress no matter who she's acting with, you know, and that's when you shine, when when Denzel and what's the name? Damn it, I always get her name wrong. But when I'm looking at great scenes between good actors, dope actors, male and female, or male and male, whatever it is, I'm never thinking one is afraid of the other. It's like, that's the time for you to shine. That's great. You want the magic. And if the one person's like, hey, don't do such a great job, hey, could you play it little, be quiet, that's sort of like what bad comedians do. Bad comedians don't want the funnier comedian to be funny. That's sort of like haters that want you to do well, but never as well as them. And that's the insecurity. And that's what Kamala had. And insecurity comes from inadequacy and from lack. Because if you're a bad mofo, you're a bad mofo. So anyway, Tim Walz is letting it all loose. And the other reason why he's doing all this, guys, wait for it, because there's mumblings he may run in 2028. So think about what she did here. She shat upon Tim Walz, and now in 2028, he may end up shatting upon her. All right, guys. Let me know what you think about that segment. I would have played more of those two guys talking, but too many words, not enough being said that's interesting. But yeah. Next story. I think we're almost to the end of it. I think I got a little bit more here.
Those shortcomings, I think that's where we are right now.
To Michael's point, it's always been something I've observed that whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if you ignore bad news, you are taking a tremendous risk.
A dynamic spokesperson for what he believed in. And I think, unfortunately, Democrats weren't able to break the cycle. Kamala Harris was a really good candidate who had an opportunity to do that.
Oh, listen to this guy. This is what I'm saying. He can't even make eye contact when he says this shit. This is what I'm saying. When you can't be honest In what world was Kamala Harris a good candidate? See what I'm saying? And that's what I could have got out of this segment without having to say that, because that's, I covered her so harshly, and I told the truth every time, But now he forces me to have to say she's a 50-degree day. You know the line from The Wire, right? 70-degree day in Baltimore. 70-degree day in Baltimore, people were barbecuing, They're doing their thing, they're having a good time, they're hanging out. You might even throw some shorts on. And forget it's only March. 60-degree day, it's still a good day. Light jacket, maybe no jacket. Long sleeve shirt. Longest is daytime hours. With a 50-degree day, you still bundled up, man. And that's what Kamala Harris, she's a 50-degree day. I know that's not exactly how it went, but it's the same concept as The Wire. String a bell line. And for now to rewrite history and make her seem like she was a great candidate, it's just like, I don't know, it's sort of like the Jedi mind trick. Like, were you there? You know what I'm saying? Were you there? Nah. Kamala Harris, right? She's got a real unique name. You talking about this another Kamala Harris ran for president I don't know about? Because the Kamala Harris I know sucked. Anyway, moving on. Where are we here, Johnson? Where are we at? Oh, damn, I got to come out of here. Let's get out of here. Okay, my last story of the night will be Bernie Sanders. Don't everybody clap at once. Bernie Sanders is doing town halls and people are showing up and they're loving it. Yeah, everyone is talking about how great Sanders is doing as he goes across the country doing his anti-Trump, anti-Elon thing. Check Bernie out.
Joining me now at the table, Senior Advisor to Bernie Sanders, Faz Shakir, my partner, my friend from the weekend, Simone Sanders-Towson. You saw that big smile on my face? Yes, she paid me for that. And former Senior Advisor to House Speakers Paul Ryan and John Boehner, Brendan Buck. I've been excited about this grouping all day long because, as you could tell from the lead-in, there's a lot of the political dynamics married up with style and feel to them in terms of the energy that folks have growing. This almost like campaign style and feel to them in terms of the energy that folks have coming out. Tell us what that's like and what you're hearing specifically from people in a red district. Presumably not everyone in the room is a Democrat, right? So what are you hearing and seeing out there?
Well, the Senator's now hit 5 districts, congressional districts that have been currently held by Republicans. They're purple districts, but held by Republicans. And each of them, we are outdrawing thousands of people, outdrawing our peak of 2020. So we ran for president in 2020, and the numbers here right now are higher than we've ever seen before. And it's telling you something. I think in my mind, I have Bernie Sanders holding a stethoscope up to the Democratic Party and saying, hey, listen to this, the heartbeat of America out there. People are angry and frustrated, and the Musk takeover of government, I promise you, is top of mind for so many people. They find it abhorrent of their values, and they are urging Democrats to stand up and do something and fight for it.
Is it, Simone, do you think it's just the Musk takeover of the government? We've had this ongoing conversation on the weekend. There's a clear grassroots push and pull that's going on here. The push is by the grassroots trying to pull elected officials to hear what they're having to say. Is it more off of Trump's actions or Musk at this point? How do you read this moment?
Well, I guess I would say Donald Trump's actions and Elon Musk's actions are one and the same. You know, the president keeps saying, oh, I've delegated to Elon, and Elon's like, oh, the president's in charge. So he does have to own what Musk is doing. And I would like to remind everybody that Russell Vought is actually the architect of all of it. I think with Senator Sanders and other Democrats were out in full force this weekend, which, you know, I've been very hard on my Democratic friends over the last couple of weeks. I would argue rightfully so. And I was glad to see the Democrats out and about talking to the voters to hear from them directly. I think what Senator Sanders is tapping into, though, is a frustration that people have and a want to be heard. One of the things that he launched his tour in my hometown, North Omaha, Nebraska. And I just would like to note, he did this thing where he asked people to yell out what frustrated them. And let me tell you, Bernie Sanders, I know he is not trying to have a little chit chat at his rally, but he did. He told people to shout out and then he responded to them. And to me, that says that the temperature at this moment is the people feel like they're not being heard. Now, you can have qualms about, his crowd seemed mostly white. That's fine. People are coming out to hear Bernie Sanders in that capacity. Black and brown crowds might come out somewhere else, although the black women will say we voted for not Donald Trump, so don't call us. But there is something there.
We did our work.
That, black women be like, well, we did our work, 92% checking in here. But there's something happening there. I don't know if it will translate to Democratic votes writ large, but it does say that people need to pay attention.
So,
this gets to exactly what the problem I think is, and it's very evident, and that is Bernie Sanders is just trying to get people to do business as usual. And that's what's bad about Bernie, and that's what's sad. Because Bernie Sanders had promise. I know there's a lot of people that don't pay attention to Bernie because Bernie doesn't talk black at all. Like, he doesn't articulate anything. He doesn't really speak directly to black issues. But if you come in and you're looking at it from a populist, like, bread and butter type of issue, Bernie will talk that. He'll talk about healthcare and schools and jobs and things along that nature. He even go as far as talking about ending mass incarceration. But from a black perspective, no, you're not going to get that. Hence, there's the crowd being mostly white. But I don't know how many black people there are in those red states that he's in those particular areas in the Midwest. I'm not familiar with the demographics, but I can tell you that's a Bernie crowd. It's mostly a mostly, white crowd. But hell, his message about those issues are going to resonate with anybody. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I mean, most people in the country, you can fill gymnasiums or Madison Square Garden with the number of independents there are just in New York. People forget most parties, most people are independent or no affiliation at all. Like, we get locked into the bubble of Democrats, Republicans, and that's bullshit. The country is mostly independent. I'm sorry, let me back up. The country is, half the country don't vote almost. Like 40%, 35% of the country doesn't vote. Okay? So let's go ahead and lop that off right there. So now we got the other 65% of people that do vote. Of that, the biggest group is independent. Okay, so you take another, so you're looking at now 45% of the country, and that's going to be 45%, 25 of that may be conservative, 20 of that may be conservative, and the other 25 may be maybe Democrat. So anyway, that's sort of how it shapes up. So what I'm saying, if you got an event that comes out that you come out to and people that are showing up, it doesn't mean they're Republicans. They could be independents. Or they can be, swing voters who voted Republican last time, but this time they're going to vote Democrat, or last time they voted Democrat, and this time, it doesn't really matter. The labels don't matter. When people's pockets are hurting, people are listening to anybody. And Bernie knows how to talk that. Once again, the big problem with Bernie is Bernie ain't on shit. And I mean that with respect to you, not to him. I respect you enough to just say that plainly, because it's the truth. Because at the end of the day, all he's going to do is say, go vote for Biden, or whoever that is standing under the D. And it doesn't matter what the R person's talking about or what they're on, because that's really who Bernie is. It took us to find it out. I found it out up close and personal, covering him for 2 election cycles. And that's what it is. One of the foremost supporters of him back when he ran against Hillary, because I could not stand Hillary. Like a lot of people couldn't stand Hillary. So, yeah, it sounds good. And yeah, okay, fine. Democrats want to say this is a little shot in the arm. There's signs of life. Yeah, okay, fine. But it's not a strong enough pulse for you to get up and walk. It's not a strong enough pulse to say you're out of the ICU. You still need to get hit with the paddles. you still need all types of around the clock care. And your brain may still be dead because the machines can keep you going. But yeah, the reality is you got major problems. The Democratic Party has major problems, and it's gonna be a while. And look, and I'm of the opinion, for real, I don't know if they're ever gonna recover. And I'm fine with them never recovering because we need new parties. We need more parties. I like parties, more parties, not these two parties. I'm not here to get you to be a Republican or a Democrat. I want us to make something new. But part of the process is Black Americans have to stop voting Democrat 95% of the time. And that's the problem. That's what the issue is. Lord have mercy. Somebody is calling me during my show, leaving a message. Not this number. Call and leave a message. Oh, thank you, sister. Oh, look, guys, I'm sorry. My mind's thrown off. I got my answer machine. My business line is down here, and someone's leaving me a voice message as I talk. I'm trying to talk over the voice message. Bernie Sanders is full of shit. He wants you to be a Democrat. He ain't trying to change your opinion on that. And any type of revolutionary, this revolution, we need us a revolution, would require the end of the Democratic Party, at least your exit from the Democratic Party, because there will be no revolution within the Democratic Party. There will be no revolution inside the Republican Party. The revolution is going to take place outside of those parties. That's how I see it. Let me know what you think about this segment, guys. That's where I come up on it. It is what it is. I appreciate y'all. That's what I get for having my damn. She is still talking. She is still talking. Hang up. Guys, let's go to the comment section. I can't get over. I can't believe it. I can't believe this. I can't believe this is my fault. I'll cut the ring off on my phone next time. This is crazy. I don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm delusional. She's somebody's literally watching me do the show, and they call it up to the phone, and I got the answer machine playing their message while I'm talking. That's crazy. I need to hire people. All right. Let's go to the comment section and see who's here, Johnson. We got people. Black Mamba came through and she gave somebody a membership, man. And that ain't nothing but generosity and a big heart there. Thank you, Black Mamba. Extreme X Wolfpack. Thank you, Extreme. I appreciate you, fam. Megs, giving out those memberships. Thank you, Megs. I appreciate you. Arlene Chambers, she came back through. Thank you, Arlene. We appreciate your generosity, sister. Thank you for supporting independent media. I appreciate you. Trust No Party came back through. Trust, what's up? How you doing, fam? Thank you for your support as usual. Is it time? Yes, it is. For Church Talk Unlimited with James Paul Berry. Good work. Good work to you, my brother. Yo, Michael R. He does cocaine too, allegedly. Is you talking about Hunter Biden? Ain't no damn alleged. He did that on film. He did it on film. Over 50 and fantabulous, my sister. Since 6/30/2013. Tim has been telling the truth. May the Lord continue to bless you and your family. Your quiet strength through much you have been through is encouraging to me personally and many of us. Sister, Thank you for your friendship and your continued support throughout the years, sister. I appreciate you. Yo. Arlene says, that's Hebrew, Tim, not Arabic. Oh, thank you, Arlene. Look, like I know, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I just thought it was, I don't know, I thought, so basically they're telling on the U.S. that went around the country, around the world, because maybe some Jewish media didn't like what it was said, right? And wanted to send that joint out. So yeah. Wow, that's interesting, fam. Black Mama says, support the Tim Black Show. Go get a mug. The Tim Black mug, Johnson's. Go do it. It's people's politics for the people. Politics for the people. $20 to your dough. That's good. That's a good deal. Elizabeth Lunny. Silver sticker. Never love, Elizabeth. Thank you, sister. Thank you for supporting this channel. I think we had a good night tonight. I got thrown off at the end, but I think I got out what I needed to say about Bernie Sanders and about his town halls. You know, it's great to have a populist message. And it's going to be popular because it's what's popular. Only problem is what you trying to do with it. It's like if people are all pumped up and you say, okay, let's go back in here now and go vote for Kamala. Huh? Yeah, let's go vote for Hillary now. You guys pumped up? Yeah, we pumped up. Let's fight the power. Okay, cool. First, let's go in here and vote for Hillary. Then we'll come back out and fight the power. People are like, what? Is this guy crazy? What is he talking about? This doesn't make sense. What? It's like working out for 2 hours and then eating McDonald's. It's like, what? This is crazy. Why did we work out? I gotta go to the bathroom. All right, guys, number love for you. I'll see you on the next one. Shout out to the Tim Black members. Shout out to the moderators, Black Mamba and my brother Buck Bewley. Shout out to Man Oz and my longtime supporters of the show. Mrs. Black, I'm home. Also, where my ladies at? Gotta look for those. Oh, there they go.